Have you ever been laughed at by people who thought you were beneath them? I have. It happened at my own son's wedding reception. I looked down at the elegant little name tag in front of me, written in flawless calligraphy, and saw the words, Dorothy Williams! The charity case, the Sterling family, my new in-laws, erupted in laughter. Their designer gowns shimmered in the light, their manicured hands covering smirking lips. I smiled politely, pinned the tag to my simple navy blue dress, and quietly excused myself to make one phone call. By morning, the Sterlings would finally understand what real charity looks like. My son Michael had fallen hopelessly in love with Vanessa Sterling. She was beautiful, polished, dripping with the kind of wealth that comes from generations of old Connecticut money, the kind that builds museums and sponsors opera houses. When Michael first brought her home, she looked around my modest living room worn couch. Drugstore! Photoframe Zen said with that fake sweet smile. How quaint. So refreshing to meet someone who isn't obsessed with material things. I bit my tongue. My boy was happy. At 42, he deserved love. But I saw the disdain in her eyes. The engagement party at the Sterling estate was my first taste of their world. Crystal chandeliers, oil-painted ceilings, champagne flowing like water. When Patricia Sterling, Vanessa's mother, introduced me, she said with a smirk, She's from Ohio. The way she said Ohio made it sound like a third world country. I smiled. I played the part of the humble widow, because patience, my dear, is the greatest weapon. The wedding planning shut me out completely. Every meeting, every tasting, every decision done without me. When I offered to pay for the rehearsal dinner, Putrisa actually laughed. Oh, Dorothy, how sweet. But we couldn't let you strain your limited resources. Limited resources. If only she knew. At the bridal shower, I brought a modest crystal vase from Macy's. The room was filled with Hermes scarves. Tiffany diamonds! Lingerie worth more than my rent. Vanessa held up my vase like roadkill and said, How practical. Every bride needs something from the discount store. The laughter that followed. It wasn't joy. It was cruelty. I sipped my champagne, smiled, took notes. Information is far more powerful than pride. The wedding itself was a fairy tale roses, string quartets. The $200,000 extravaganza of a family desperate to show off wealth they didn't truly have. And then came the reception. At my seat near the kitchen, far away from family, I saw it. Dorothy Williams, the charity case. Patricia gasped in fake horror. Vanessa, surely this is a mistake. But Vanessa only smiled. Honesty is important in families. Don't you agree, Dorothy? The laughter swelled. I stood, pinned the tag to my purse, and smiled. You're absolutely right, Vanessa. Honesty is very important. I think it's time for some honesty all around. Then I walked to the estate library and made one phone call. Robert, execute the Sterling portfolio adjustments we discussed. All of them. Tonight. By 8 a.m. Sunday morning, Richard Sterling, Vanessa's father, was on the phone with his lawyers. Loan default. Frozen assets. Foreclosure notices. The empire of old money crumbled overnight. Michael called me, panic in his voice. Mom, Vanessa's family is freaking out. They might lose everything. Do you know what's going on? I sipped my coffee. Sweetheart, I'm just the charity case. How would I know? By noon, their staff was being fired. Their memberships canceled. Their house on the brink of foreclosure. All because of one phone call. What they didn't know? For 3 years since Harold died, I'd been running his empire. The Williams Foundation quietly held $12 billion in assets. And Sterling Holdings, their supposed dynasty, built on debt. One tug on the right thread, and the whole fabric unraveled. By Monday, Vanessa called me. A voice, once dripping with arrogance, now cracked with desperation. Dorothy, please, can we meet? We met at a working-class diner. No, just cracked vinyl booths. She sat across from me, pale, mascara smudged, shaking hands, clutching a menu. She didn't know how to read.
My family's losing everything. Can you help us? I stirred my coffee. Help you.
I'm just the charity case. Remember? Her eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please. Anything. Dangerous word. Anything. I slid a paper across the table. My conditions. 1. Vanessa would work 6 months as a cleaning lady like I once did. 2. She would volunteer at a homeless shelter every Saturday for a year. 3. She would move into a studio apartment in my building until she could afford more. She stared in horror. I've never cleaned anything in my life. Then you'll learn, I said. Richard Sterling himself came to my apartment the next day. His perfect suits replaced by desperation. You orchestrated this. You're Harold Williams's widow. The owner of Meridian, Sterling Holdings, everything. I smiled. You finally did your homework. I showed him the papers. My empire. Their collapse. You called me a charity case, Richard, but the truth is, your family has been living on charity this whole time. Vanessa accepted my conditions. Tearfully. Broken. But determined. 6 months later, I walked into Meridian Financial. There she was in a cleaning uniform, scrubbing marble floors. Her hands, once manicured, were rough. But her eyes... Proud, Mrs. Williams, she said, standing straighter. I didn't expect to see you here. How are you adjusting? I asked. She smiled faintly. It's hard work. But for the first time, I feel useful. I'm learning who I really am. Now, look, don't get me wrong. Was it satisfying to watch the Sterling family fall? Oh, honey, it was glorious. But that wasn't the point. The point was Vanessa! See, when you spend your life looking down at people, you build a wall around yourself. But when you tear down that wall and expose those beautiful, pampered hands to honest work, well, that's real growth. And as for the Sterling family, they were a cautionary tale. As they say, pride goeth before the fall. And oh, how they fell when Harold died. I inherited more than his love. I inherited his integrity, his empathy, his quiet strength. He taught me that true power doesn't come from money or status, but from character. That was the foundation of our marriage, and that's the foundation I passed on to Michael. When I saw him at the wedding, dancing with Vanessa, surrounded by his friends and mine, I felt a surge of love. This young man before me had found happiness despite the shadows of the past. And that, my friends, is the greatest legacy of all. As for me, well, I'm just the charity case. But as they say, don't judge the depth of a woman by the size of her purse. Now, tell me, have you ever been underestimated by someone who thought they were better than you? Share your story. Who knows? Maybe one day it will be my greatest story yet. Until then, keep an eye out for those who think they're above you. Because trust me, sometimes the greatest lessons come from the most unexpected places. And remember, kindness is always the best revenge. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and tell me, have you ever been underestimated by someone who thought they were better than you?